Hi folks, today I'm going to be showing you a tarp setup called the Cornet, so if you're interested in that, stick around. Okay, so here it is. So you might be wondering why it's called a Cornet. I don't know for sure, but it's if you think of the sort of cornet thing that you have an ice cream in, then I suppose it's kind of like triangle shaped and kind of long. So if you imagine that turned around like that with an ice cream in the top, then I guess that's a cornet. I don't know, that's just my guess. So if I take you through how it's actually set up, as usual, because I'm in my garden, I'm using a trekking pole, but you know, normally you'd tie it to a tree, but because if you were somewhere where there weren't any trees, then a trekking pole would be fine. And for this one, because it's actually very low, then the trekking pole is about the right sort of height. So you can see the shape of it, it's very, very long and pointed. So I guess the first thing to say is this would probably be better than some of the tarp formations if you were in a very windy situation, because you'd probably pitch it with the back end pointing into the wind, so the wind came up and over, so you wouldn't get a blast of wind in your face and you wouldn't get the rain coming in. So here we are at the front. So you can see it's got quite a big porch here sticking out because of the way it's set up, and inside this is actually part of the tarp itself, so it comes with a handy ground sheet as part of the design which covers the whole area. I've actually pegged it down there. I mean, you don't have to do that, but I think if you were in that space moving around, then you'd want to make sure the ground sheet didn't travel too much. So as long as it's pegged all the way down so it doesn't get in your way, I think that's fine. So the way you do it is, this is my usual tarp, which is a 3x3 metre 10x10 foot square tarp. So we've got it in a sort of diagonal formation. So this is one of the corners here. So that corner is just tied off to the trekking pole. So the trekking pole I've just got, I don't know if you can see here. So basically I've just got two guy lines coming off there, off the trekking pole, holding it up. So one corner tied to the trekking pole, and then the far corner is just pegged out at the back there. So that's just a peg straight in the ground. And the key to this one, like a lot of tarp setups really, is it's all got to be very tight. So the way I did it was I did the front first, tied that up, then I came down, put my peg in here as tightly as I could go, and then I actually went back up to the front and then tighten this up. So you know, you can use numerous different knots to make lines tighter, but yeah, take your pick really. I mean, the trucker's hitch is a good one if you're around a tree, but with this one I've just done one of my very clever knots, which I don't know what it's called, so I won't tell you. So after you've got the number one is the front, number two is the back, and then probably number three is come back to the front and tighten it up, then you're just going down. So you've got the second attachment point, so you've got, that's the first attachment point, second attachment point, just peg that one out, again pulled nice and tight, and obviously symmetrical, so exactly the same the other side over there. So you've got the nice opening set up, and then after that really it's just simply a case of so because you've done those two attachment points, you then would have a big flap of the rest of the tarp sticking out either side. So it's just a case of folding those under those two sides, and as I showed you earlier, they actually fold under quite nicely, and they overlap each other, and then you've got a ground sheet, and the ground sheet finishes there, and then you've got this area of quite a long awning that you can use. So as always with me, because I'm a tall person, my next test is to actually lie inside there and see if it actually fits me. Okay, so I do fit in here, but I have to have my feet a long way down to the bottom, but I do just about fit in. It's certainly very snug. It feels like you're in a sleeping bag, a very tight sleeping bag, because it's all wrapped around you. But yeah, I do fit in here, just about. I think it'd be good if I could sit up at the front in the porch, but to do that I'm pretty much out of the shelter altogether, so it's not really high enough. So just for those of you who don't know, I'm 6'4", so I'm taller than the average height, I guess. One thing you could do to improve the room a little bit is pull that one up and tie it off to a tree or something. That would make a lot more room this end inside, although it's still going to be quite low, so it's not going to make it a lot more livable, but at least it won't be down on your body so much. Now I have seen this tarp actually called something else. I said it was called a Cornet setup, but I've seen it called a Bivvy bag tarp setup, and in a way I can kind of get that because it's very low. There isn't a great deal of room in there, and it does kind of remind me a bit of you know, those hoop bivvies. You know, you can imagine the hoop at the front. It's not so different from that. So yeah, so you might see it called a Bivvy bag setup or a Cornet setup. I think the Cornet name is more common. So what are my thoughts on this one? I think it feels like a real hardcore survival shelter, to be honest. I mean, you could put it up with a stick or something, even if you haven't got a trekking pole. So it doesn't need a great deal. All it needs is some pegs, obviously some cordage, and one strongish thing at the front, and away you go. I think it's very if you had really bad weather, because it's so low profile, I think it would survive quite a lot. And there's no way that the wind, unless you were really unlucky and the wind changed direction 180 degrees, there's no way that the wind would lift it off. So I think those are the really positive points about it. And obviously, if you do like the sort of bivvy bag style of camping, then this might be a good one for you. I think the obvious downside for me, you know, you can guess really, is because I'm quite tall. It's a bit of a struggle to get in, and it is very tight. I mean, it's not a livable shelter. You can't do anything in there other than sleep. I think it's wide enough so there is room, unlike a bivvy bag, where you could put some of your kit in there. Obviously there's that quite big porch as well for things that you're not too worried about getting a little bit damp. But yeah, you could definitely fit your pack in there alongside where you were sleeping, so that's really good. But yeah, it's a shelter for sleeping. It's not a shelter for living in and cooking and stuff. And especially, like, anyway, I don't know, maybe if you're not quite as tall as me, you could sit up in the porch. But to me, not being able to sit up in the porch is a big downside, really, because that means that anything you want to do, whether it's cooking or just putting your boots on, you know, you're pretty much going to be outside straight away. So that's a shame, because it's got a nice big porch. Alright, well, I hope you found that useful. I kind of like this tarp, actually. I think I like it because it's so weird. But anyway, if you've enjoyed that, then please give me a thumbs up. If you're not already a subscriber to the channel and you want to see more videos like this, then please consider hitting the subscribe button. And if you do, then hit the bell so that it makes sure that every time I put a new video out, you get a notification from YouTube. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.